Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing? Today we're going to be talking about everything that you need to know for the new Blend Bunny Cosmetics plastic eyeshadow palette. This is the first smaller magnetic eyeshadow palette that Blend Bunny has ever done. We've got 12 shades here, 6 mattes and 6 shimmers. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you the details on the launch. We're going to do some super up close swatches, 2 eyeshadow looks, and then I'm also going to be sharing my thoughts at the end on whether I think this is worth picking up or who it might be best for. The plastic palette is going to be launching on January 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is going to be retailing for $34. They said that the pricing is reflected on the shifty shadows inside the palette as well as including the magnetic components. I do have an affiliate code with Blend Bunny, so if you are interested in purchasing from this launch or anything from the website ever, I do have a bunch of different like ranking videos. I've done so many Blend Bunny reviews, but you can use my affiliate code AMYLOVES to save 10% off, taking this launch down to I think like $30.60 if I did the math correctly in my head. They also mentioned that due to the devastating fires happening in California right now, they felt kind of weird just having a launch, so they decided that 5% of the sales from this palette are going to be donated to the California Fire Foundation. The foundation supports firefighters and volunteer firefighters in action and also aids families and communities preparing for and recovering from disasters. So just wanted to let you know. Let's jump on into some swatches. So here's the packaging up close. It's cute. It's interesting. It doesn't feel like Bad Bunny. I was about to say Bad Bunny. It does not feel like Blend Bunny to me, just because this is their first palette that's ever been this small and just like a very traditional palette. I'm so curious to hear what you guys think about this, if you're into the vibe switch up, what your thoughts are. But this palette is described as 12 shades of perceived perfection for the eye and face. From the back of the packaging, you can see that the shade Shallow, Rumor Has It, Plastic, Purchased, Self-Made, Gossip, Faux, and Pseudo Celeb, all of those are considered face pigments, so you might experience a little bit of staining. Normally that's about it with those type of shades, but they are not technically supposed to be used on the eyes. The very first shade is Reputation, and it looks like a really, really deep, cool brown, almost to the point that it's black, but it's not. Next we have the shade Sugar Zaddy, which looks like a really beautiful, very metallic gold. It's definitely a little bit more of a cream finish. I don't see any sparkles really happening with that shade. We've got Rumor Has It, which looks like a nice, very warm red toned brown. Okay. Black feels pretty smooth. Okay. That's pretty, but it's definitely not giving me anything super special. I think I'm gonna build up Rumor Has It just a little bit. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see the shade even better. Next we have the shade Plastic, which looks like a pink to gold. That one also has like a very creamy finish, and maybe it's like a little tiny bit of sparkle to it, but mostly it's just very shiny. We've got Self-Made, which looks like a really vibrant, just peach matte, super cute. Faux, which is a vibrant kind of Barbie pink with maybe just a touch of like a little bit of like a purpley shift to it, but I would say it's pretty subtle. Okay, I like that peach. So next we have Shallow, which looks like a really pretty kind of soft bluey green, and that one does seem to have a little bit of a sparkle to it, and maybe it doesn't feel quite as like wet and creamy as the other shimmer, but still, you know, pretty shiny. We've got Nip Tuck, which looks like a really beautiful kind of neutral, like camely brown matte. We've got Clout Chasin', which looks like a multi-chrome, and it is extremely creamy and soft to the touch. It's got a green base and then a shift to orange or like copper and gold, and I see some red as well. So it is very pretty. I'll show you it with a mirror in just a second. Okay. Really like that neutral matte right there. And then here's what that shade looks like with a mirror. You can see the shift a little bit there, but I will say that to me it is more of a subtle multi-chrome. It's not like super, super intense. Okay, the last three we've got here, we've got Purchased, which looks like a really soft, very light, just beige matte. We've got Gossip, which that one does look sparkly, and it's kind of like a golden, like warmer base and a pinky flip to it. So another pretty kind of shifty, shimmery shade. And then lastly, we've got Pseudo Celeb, which is a hot, hot matte Barbie pink. I mean, it's perfectly matching the packaging, so I cannot complain. We love a color story that matches the packaging. Very, very vibrant. I can see why that is considered a face pigment. Oh, wow. Yeah, it looks almost neon, honestly. So there is the entire plastic palette swatched out. And then here's what the swatches look like built up. I did about 1 to 2 layers more on each shadow just for Instagram swatches for a reel. But I just wanted to show you what they look like when you add a little bit more of the product. I'm also going to throw on screen what these look like in natural lighting just so you guys can see it from a different perspective. Now let's jump on into the eye looks. I feel like we definitely have to do a look really focusing on the pink tones in this palette. So for this first look, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to start off with the peach shade right here, Self-Made. I'm going to use that on a fluffy brush and just throw it through my entire crease. Definitely does have a strong pink undertone. It's looking a little bit more pink than orange. Alrighty, next we're gonna go into Pseudo Celeb, that's super hot pink, and I'm gonna really pack that on my outer V. Very, very bright. Part of me was torn with this shade. I'm like, should I do a look that's a little bit more soft and like show you like my style with this palette? Or should I really, really go all out? I didn't know. But I feel like sometimes you guys appreciate you say like, oh, I thought that palette was like too bold, or like, I just didn't know what like more soft, subtle looks I could do with it. And then I help you like with having an idea. And so I love that because there's so many different styles out there that you can find, you know, inspiration for whatever you like. So hopefully if you're kind of in between and you're just like, I like doing, you know, color, but I still like it to be kind of on the soft side, then this can be helpful for you. But I'm just gonna go back in with my previous brush and just softly blend that out. Hopefully you can see it's just a very opaque, beautiful matte formula. Wouldn't expect anything else from Blend Bunny, quite honestly. That's the question, should we add some depth to this look or should we keep it super bright? I feel like we could go into Rumor Has It. Maybe just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit on the outer V. It has a nice red tone to it, so I feel like it's gonna blend right in. I'm going to take just a touch more of Self-Made and just go right over that edge. For the lower lash line, I think I'm going to go into the shade Faux, that like pinky purple shimmer. Grabbing that on a tiny little pencil brush from Rougher, and I'm really going to build it up. I'm just going to slightly wipe off that brush on the back of my hand. It's not that big of a deal. It just has like a tiny little tint of pink to it. And I think let's use the shade Plastic on the inner corner right here. Has that nice peachy reflect, and then just bring it up onto the inner part of the lid as well. Lastly, I think I'm gonna go into the shade Gossip. I just use my finger with that. These are so creamy. Just gonna pop it on the center. So pretty. I feel like I wanna do my typical, just adding like a little bit of depth to the lash line. So I'm gonna go into Rumor Has It with my N11. Oh my gosh, I've got like so much like multi-chrome shadow on that brush. It actually looks really cool. It looks purposeful, but my N11 from BK Beauty, and just tapping that really close to my lash line just to get a little extra depth. So for the second look, I feel like I need to dig into some of these neutrals a little bit more, but I'm also feeling this pop of blue in the mix. So I think I'm gonna start off with the shade Purchased. I'm just curious to see how much that shows up. Just tapping out my eyeshadow primer. I did use the ABH eye primer today. Here is Purchased. Okay, on my skin tone, it is giving just a very light transition. I definitely can see it. So it's doing a little something something, but it is subtle. I think I'm gonna move on to that and dip into Nip Tuck. Basically just doing the same thing. Oh, it's really pigmented. It's actually much warmer on my crease than I expected. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that through the entire crease. I'm not sure I want to go into either of these deeper matte neutrals yet, so I'm gonna take this shade again, but on a much smaller, more precise crease brush, and just really focus that on the outer V, see if we can build it up a little bit. Maybe even just take whatever's left over and slightly buff that onto the lower lash line. I think I'm gonna go into Rumor Has It again, having that on the outer V. It's funny, on this eye it looks so red, but on this one it kind of just blended in as brown, just depending on what colors you use around it. I feel like in the palette, the neutrals that are in here look more cool tone, but then on my eyes personally, I feel like they're pulling pretty warm. That's cute. And then before I go in with any shimmers, I think I'm just gonna go into a little bit of the deepest shade, Reputation, again my N11, and just add some definition to the lash line. Maybe we'll do some Clout Chasin' on the lower lash line. That's that multi-chrome shade. Pop it on the outer half. Part of me wants to do a matte lid and just like leave it at that. But then part of me also wants to go in with Sugar Zaddy, so we can just see what that looks like. Maybe we'll do both. We'll do both versions of the look. I'm gonna go into a little bit more of Purchased right here. And then for the inner corner, going into Shallow. Ooh, that's so pretty. I feel like that could be the complete look. It is very cute, very easy, wearable. Ooh, or you know what would be so cute too? Wait one second. Picking up a little bit of Shallow on my liner brush and bringing it on as a line. Like I feel like that is such a cute way to kind of bring that blue pop on. Adorable, but I did want to go ahead and try Sugar Zaddy, so we're also going to throw that on, and it's probably going to cover the liner I just did, but that's fine. Pop that on the inner corner. Okay, at this point I'm just like unstoppable. We could always add a little bit of Clout Chasin' on the outer half. Adds a little bit more depth, a little bit more shift to something different. I'm gonna finish off these looks with the Blend Bunny Omni Lash Mascara. So there are the looks complete, something a little bit more pink and colorful, something a little bit more neutral, but still easy, wearable, everyday looks. Let's go ahead and jump on into my thoughts. I have mixed thoughts about this palette. I definitely have some pros and cons happening in my brain, so I just want to sort through those really quickly. I think one of the biggest pros of this would be that this is the amazing Blend Bunny formula that I already love. I feel like the mattes were super easy to blend. The shimmers, I feel like the Blend Bunny shimmers do vary from palette to palette. Overall, the quality is really good, and I think that if you've been wanting to try something from Blend Bunny, but you just really don't like large palettes, or you don't like a lot of like the same color story altogether, you like it to be a little bit more chaotic, then maybe this could be your vibe. If you've also been wanting magnetic shadows from Blend Bunny, these do pull out. However, I will say that you really don't have that much space to pull them out. And I did just like damage the shadow trying to double check and make sure that I could pull them out. And Blend Bunny does have a magnetic tool that they just came out with, which if it's already out, you can grab the pan with that super easy. But in my experience, just trying to grab the pan out, like you cannot take it out of the palette with this tool. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to. I don't know if that's even a claim, but yeah, it's not happening. So I guess you can see that the biggest positives for me from this palette are, you know, the things that maybe would have stopped you from trying Blend Bunny in the past. But I feel like if you are already like a dedicated fan, loyal customer of Blend Bunny, I personally am not like super obsessed with the change in packaging and the change in layout and the much smaller palette. I just already love what Blend Bunny has done so much, and I get it because I think they get a lot of criticism of like, oh, this looks the same as this. And yes, if you're doing gradients, like things are going to look similar sometimes, but I just prefer it. I love it. I feel like that's what makes their palette so special. And for me, when I look at this palette, this color story, this layout, I kind of just, it's not that it's not special, I just don't see Blend Bunny in it, if you know what I mean. So that's my like little gripe, is just that like I'm not obsessed with the color story. I'm just like, I love Blend Bunny the way they are. I do feel a little silly mentioning it as a con because I know that the owner of Blend Bunny is so creative, and I'm sure they're just trying to come up with different ways to keep people engaged and, you know, keep making beautiful, amazing products. But I just love the gradients. The other con that I would say is just that I feel like these shimmers, it really depends on you and your preference if you're going to find them to be special. I was really thinking that these were going to be super shifty shadows because when this palette was introduced on Instagram, it was noted that the price is not that much different, even though it is a much smaller palette than what they normally put out. And they said that it is due to the shifty nature of the shadows. So I was like, okay, gotcha. Like, I'm going to see some insane shifts, some super incredible multi-chromes, and you do have some shifty shadows happening here, but I would describe them more on the subtle side. They're not bad, they really are not, but it's just not what I was thinking of when I saw that disclaimer. However, I will say that they work really well with a brush. You don't have to use your fingers. So if you are someone who likes to use your brushes for your shimmer shadows and you get annoyed with that really like emollient, creamy formula that you can like barely pick up with a brush and you're just like struggling and then you give up and you use your fingers and you get stuff behind your nails, then you'll appreciate this formula. That is just my 2 cents, so I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did and you would like to see more indie reviews from me, definitely make sure that you are subscribed. Feel free to comment down below, let me know which look you enjoyed more, if you're enjoying this change in aesthetic and packaging from Blend Bunny. I'd be so curious to hear your thoughts, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye!